Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, humanity had always been seen as a fleeting, insignificant species. To the other, far more ancient and advanced civilizations, humans were but a curious anomaly, an undeveloped, relatively primitive race on a planet in the backwater of a vast and uncaring universe. The Xanthion, a highly advanced species known for their ruthless conquests across the stars, had been monitoring Earth for centuries. They viewed humanity as little more than a blip in the cosmic timeline, a species destined to fall easily under their heel when the time came to claim Earth for their empire. Their superiority in both technology and experience made them confident that humanity would either submit to their rule without resistance or be extinguished swiftly and decisively. The Xanthion were wrong. When they launched their invasion, they brought with them a fleet of ships the size of small moons, their weapons designed to obliterate entire cities in the blink of an eye, and technology so advanced that the leaders of Earth had no frame of reference for what they were up against. At first, the human response was chaotic, a scramble of disorganized resistance from Earth's various militaries. Governments, once divided and fractured, began to coordinate in a way that only desperation could forge. The sheer shock and awe of the initial assault left cities in ruins and left many to wonder if Earth could ever recover from the devastation that followed. Humanity had been caught off guard, and the Xanthion were relentless, coming in wave after wave of devastating bombardments and planetary invasions. At first, the Xanthion were confident in their victory. Humanity, after all, had no defenses capable of standing up to their advanced weaponry. They were certain the Earth's military would crumble under the weight of their superior forces, and that humanity would bow before them, begging for mercy. They underestimated the human spirit, the human drive, the relentless will to survive against all odds. When the first alien fleet descended upon Earth, humans could not fully grasp the scale of the threat. But they did understand one thing: if they didn't fight, they would be wiped out. And so, humanity fought. It started small. Groups of survivors who had fled the initial bombardments began to regroup in remote areas, surviving off the land and devising ways to wage guerrilla warfare against the alien invaders. What they lacked in firepower, they made up for in resourcefulness. Primitive as their weapons were compared to the Xanthion's technology, they quickly began adapting alien tech and turning it against the invaders. Earth scientists, engineers, and military minds worked together, pooling their knowledge and learning to reverse engineer the enemy's weapons. It was a desperate race against time, but humanity's ability to innovate under pressure was like nothing the Xanthion had ever seen. The resistance grew, evolving with each passing day into a force that could match and eventually surpass the alien invaders' might. The turning point came when humans began to realize that the Xanthion's vast technological superiority came with a fatal flaw: they relied too heavily on their technology and their structured command systems. The aliens' advanced ships, weapons, and strategies were all designed around the belief that victory was inevitable. They assumed their enemies would break under pressure and be incapable of adapting. What they failed to account for was humanity's unpredictable nature and their refusal to ever give up, no matter how bleak the situation seemed. The alien invaders, so used to conquering weak, docile species, were completely unprepared for a species that fought for the sheer joy of proving their strength. At first, the resistance was uncoordinated, desperate, and poorly equipped. But that quickly changed as human ingenuity and resilience took center stage. Rebel factions formed, and countries that had once been bitter enemies began to cooperate, uniting under the banner of a singular goal: to rid Earth of the Exantheon invaders. Humanity's military leaders, once scattered across the world, began to coordinate efforts in unprecedented ways. In cities that had been decimated by the Exantheon's initial attacks, survivors worked tirelessly to rebuild, forging new weapons from the remains of the alien ships and repurposing the alien technology they had managed to capture. They created a network of underground strongholds, hidden bases, and guerrilla cells that slowly chipped away at the invaders' power. Every victory, no matter how small, fed the growing resistance movement and proved to humanity that they could win. It was at this point that the Xantheon began to recognize the true threat that Earth posed. They had underestimated humanity's resourcefulness, and they began to realize that their overconfidence had led them to miscalculate. Humans weren't simply fighting to survive. They were fighting to prove that they were more than the Exantheon had ever imagined. And they would stop at nothing to ensure that their planet was never conquered. As the war progressed, humanity's technological advancements surged forward. The resources that Earth's people had once used to fight among themselves were now focused entirely on the war effort. Scientists and engineers worked day and night to develop new weapons, reverse engineer alien tech, and create machines of war that could match and even surpass anything the Exantheon had ever seen. Human minds were uniquely suited for innovation under pressure, and as each day passed, humanity's ability to wage war against the Exantheon grew stronger. The resistance started to see success on the battlefield. The tide of war turned as Earth's forces began to push back. Cities that had once fallen to the alien invaders were liberated, and humanity's technological advancements made them an increasingly formidable enemy. No longer did they fight with primitive weapons and outdated tactics. Now, they fought with weapons and machines of their own design, incorporating Exantheon technology in ways their invaders had never anticipated. In the jungles, deserts, and cities of Earth, humanity's counterattacks were swift and brutal. They struck at the heart of the Xantheon's military, disrupting supply lines, sabotaging their ships, and forcing the invaders to retreat from areas that had once been under their control. As humanity's forces grew bolder, the Xantheon began to feel the full weight of their mistake. What they had thought would be a quick conquest had become a nightmare of war, unlike any they had ever fought. The Xantheon, for all their advanced weaponry, had never faced an enemy like humanity. They had never encountered a species that would fight back with such ferocity, such ingenuity, and such unrelenting will to survive. Earth had become a living hell for the Exantheon, a battlefield where every corner of the planet was a potential trap. It wasn't just the Exantheon who were fighting now. It was every human, from every walk of life, united by the desire to protect their home. The war raged on for years. The Exantheon, unable to crush humanity's spirit, began to realize they had made a grave error. But it was too late for them. Human forces were now coordinating attacks on a galactic scale, striking at the heart of the Xantheon's empire and dismantling their power base. What the Xantheon had initially intended as a swift conquest had turned into an all-out war of attrition. They sent wave after wave of reinforcements, but each time, humanity adapted. No matter how many ships the Exantheon sent, humanity found ways to fight back, taking their advanced technology and turning it against them. In the final stages of the war, Earth became a fortress. The human race had not only repelled the invaders, but had also turned the entire planet into a bastion of defense, an impenetrable stronghold that the Exantheon could no longer hope to conquer. The once proud invaders, who had sought to subjugate humanity, found themselves forced to retreat. Their fleets were in disarray, their soldiers scattered, and their morale shattered. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as Earth, once considered weak and fragile, became the epicenter of a new, unstoppable force. The Exantheon, for all their technological superiority, could not defeat humanity's will to fight. The final battle was a turning point in galactic history. Earth's forces, led by the finest generals and scientists humanity had to offer, launched a decisive assault on the heart of the Exantheon Empire. This final confrontation shattered the Exantheon's power and proved once and for all that humanity would not be defeated. The invaders, broken and beaten, were forced to surrender. The message was clear: humanity was not a species to be underestimated. In the aftermath of the war, Earth's scars remained, but they were no longer symbols of weakness. They were symbols of victory. Humanity had not only survived, but had thrived in the face of annihilation. They had taken the fight to the very doorstep of the Xantheon's empire and delivered a vengeance that would be remembered for generations. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of underestimating humanity. The Xantheon had wanted war. What they had received was hell, a hell they would never forget. A hell delivered by humanity's fierce response, and one that would echo throughout the stars for all eternity. The once fragile human race had proven themselves to be the fiercest warriors the galaxy had ever known. And from that day forward, no alien species would dare to underestimate Earth, for they had seen firsthand the power of a people who would never surrender, never bow, and never stop fighting. The universe would never forget the lesson that humanity had taught. If you come to Earth to conquer, prepare to face a fury beyond your wildest imaginings.